Boxing King Media in association with Boxer Shane Mcguigan. A big fight night for your guy, Billiam Smith. Another hometown show. He's got his wish come true twice now. Bit of aggro in that face-off with his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy's up for it. You know, as to be expected. He's a Kosovan guy based in Germany. He's probably full of beans. But as Chris said, it's not a staring contest. He's pretty good at that. This is a boxing contest, and he's got to be very switched on early. Chris, it's the guy's dangerous early on in the fight. He hurt Masanek bad in the third round. Got a very sharp right hand, so he looks stocky and well put together. So yeah, it's got to be up for it.
On paper, to a boxing fan who probably doesn't know, most fans are just researching BoxRec. It looks like every time he's stepped up, he's either got stopped or obviously lost. Are you expecting the same this Saturday?
Yeah, I think we're going to get the stoppage, but I don't think it's going to come easy. I think he's going to have to break him down on the jab. Chris is going to have to dissect him on the jab. He's going to have to be switched on super early. Look, he's in the top 15 of the governing body of the WBA, so it's you can't get there without being a complete mug. So it's definitely one that we're going to have to switch on. But I think Chris's activity and the competition that he's been performing at is going to prevail, and I think he'll get the stoppage in most likely the second half of the fight.
I mentioned this to Johnny Nelson in the interview earlier. Would I be right in saying Chris is probably one of the most underrated fighters in the UK, because whenever he stepped up, he's dismantled opponents. The Tommy McCarthy win, big win. I just don't feel like he seems to get the credit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he is also getting credit. It depends who you're speaking to, really. I mean, he's not seen as an elite fighter, but he's definitely seen as a true professional, someone that maximises his attributes, as it were. He's got decent power, which we've worked on the whole time. But the thing is he's getting the tactics right, and he's getting the game plan right, and he's winning these fights. We lost a split decision to Richard Riakporhe, who's athletically, he's one of the most athletic fighters in the cruiserweight division, and it was a very, very close fight. I thought Chris nicked it. So, we've still got work to do. We've still got to achieve better things than we've achieved. He's achieved the European, British, and Commonwealth titles. He's so highly ranked in the governing bodies, and I think now it's just try and get our hands in the world title fight. That's the goal.
And you've also got Caroline Dubois on the card. She's turning into a bit of a puncher. She stopped 3 of her 4 opponents, which is rare in women's boxing. So quickly, do you want to chuck her into like a title fight? Because really, it's going to be under 10 fights, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to get an 8-rounder for this one, but it was time slot. For her, we had to push it to a 6. So, we're going to go straight into 8 rounds in New Year. Probably get her out in February, and then I want to go straight into 10s. There's a couple of great names that we can sort of pick up along the way. Former Katie Taylor opponents and people like that. Get some tests, and then Katie Taylor's at the end of her career. She's done amazing things for female boxing. She's achieved so much. She's put female boxers, amateur and professional, on the map. But I think she's got that Croke Park fight, and I don't see her boxing much after that. And if that's the case, then there'll be a void in the 135-pound division. I think Michaela Mayer stepping up, but I really believe that Caroline Dubois is going to be the one to fill that void.
Interesting stuff. Another one of your fighters, Lawrence Okolie. I managed to speak to him exclusively the other week. Did you watch the interview?
Yeah, it was a good interview. Yeah, I thought he spoke very well. I thought you presented good questions as well. So, yeah, it was good.
Appreciate that. Lawrence picked up on the fact that I was completely objective, which I always like to be. So I was going to ask you about some of the things that he mentioned. So the big thing that stuck out to me was that he said that Eddie Hearn wanted $500,000 of the money that Boxer were offering him. Were you aware of that? Did you hear any wind of that?
No, I mean, Lawrence has his own negotiations. He's his own man. He was working with 258, which he's since split with. I knew that there was stuff going on behind the scenes, and a few things that I don't feel like I want to talk about, because it's not my place to talk about. But things unsettled him, and I felt like he had his rights to go and can do what he's done, really. But it's just unfortunately being hot-headed or hostile, you know, in your mindset. Sometimes you can take it too far, and I think, you know, with that interview, I think the things that he's done, you know, with those tweets and stuff, I think, you know, that's the thing. I think he probably would take back, but apart from that, I think everything else he still stands by.
Yeah, he put context on him, and he felt that people misunderstood why he put them tweets about Eddie. And I think he basically said because Eddie was trying to get the $500,000 off him. But Eddie's obviously done an interview since, and he's denied that, and he's saying he's basically made that up.
I can't comment. You know, maybe he offered him a fight. You know, I think Eddie offered him a fight in the contract, and I don't think he wanted to take it. I think, you know, he wanted to go a separate route. He didn't feel like he was still in contract, and apart from that, that's as much as I know.
You know, from your experience, because one of the key points in all that is the fact that Lawrence's argument is that you can't have another fight added to your contract without signing anything, and Eddie's saying that he took less money and he agreed to it. Obviously, without knowing the facts of that, but from your past experience, because obviously you're involved in management of fighters as well, does stuff like that happen? Do fighters agree added fights in contracts that are already signed?
Well, it depends. It depends the severity of it, really. I mean, like like in Lawrence's situation, it was a fight that he was supposed to have on an AJ card. He waited a long time to get on that card. It was a financially profitable thing for him to go on that card. And, you know, that was taken away from him because of his opponent pulled out. Was all out of his control. It was also out of Matchroom's control, and that's where the sticky situation gets to. But, you know, for us as managers, if, you know, we would most likely have pulled that fight and just rescheduled it, but they went on and they tried to get a fight scheduled, and that's where the shady area lies.
Quick mention on Daniel Dubois. Are you allowed to reveal the injury that he's got yet?
What injury?
So I take that as a no. But I heard something yesterday. But is it something that he wants to bring out himself?
Well, I feel like, you know, we've got, like, it's not my place to talk. It's got Frank Warren and Martin Bowers that are managing and promoting him, and I think, you know, there'll probably be a statement reasonably soon.
And just the last thing I want to speak to you about is Anthony Joshua is currently in the States. Apparently he spent time with Virgil Hunter, Derek James and possibly Ronnie Shields again. What do you make of it all? Because obviously there's a lot of criticism going his way. People are saying he's chopping trainers after another fight. But there's a counter argument that Tyson Fury's had 3 trainers as well. So where do you stand with it all?
Yeah, I feel like Tyson Fury's had three trainers over a much longer period of time, you know. AJ had 3 trainers in one corner at one stage. Do you know what I mean? He had Rob McCracken, Angel Fernandez, and Joby Clayton in his corner for the Ruiz 2 fight. I don't think, you know, Tyson Fury definitely didn't have that. He got a great trainer in Peter Fury. Then he went with Ben Davison and got himself back in contention, and then, you know, he's since changed to Sugar Hill. So yeah, but that has all been over a long. I mean, I don't know how many fights he had with Ben, but a reasonable amount of fights, and he's had quite a few fights now with Sugar Hill. So it's enough time for a trainer to implement what they want to work and tactics and the way they want you to fight, and, you know, that's what, if I'm a trainer with a fighter coming to me, I need time to be able to, for it to click, you know. You've seen it. You've come down the gym with Adam Azim. You've seen the transition he's had over the whole year. It's not like after a month or 2 months of working, we're not just going to be at the fire and he's not going to be able to do everything that I want him to do. It takes time to implement those things, and the longer you're with someone, the more you can implement. So, and the fighter has to be willing to do it. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that's going on right now. You know, I know Robert Garcia, there was rumours that he didn't do pads anymore, especially probably not heavyweight pads. So, he hadn't really changed his setup from the Ruiz fights, and for the Usyk first fight, because he literally had the same guy working in the corner, and Angel Fernandez was the main voice in the corner. That shouldn't have been the case, in my opinion. If you're bringing in experience, you let that guy speak and you let him take charge. So whoever he goes with now, I think, you know, get shot of the other people around him and you know, knuckle down and give full faith. I personally think that Derek James is a great fighter. It's a great trainer, sorry. I don't think Virgil Hunter is the right fit for him. He's a very defensive, very technical trainer. I keep saying fighter, what's wrong with me? But, you know, I think he breaks things down too technical. I think, like, you know, Anthony Joshua strikes me. He might think he's a a sort of a verbal learner and likes to analyse things, but I think he's more of a practical learner. I think if you got someone that's a practical learner like that, I think you need someone that's going to be doing a lot of physical pads, which Derek James will do. But personally, I think out of all of them, I think you should go with Ronnie Shields.
Could there be issues of personality clashes? Because Adel Oladipo, when I spoke to him the other week, and he suggested there were arguments behind the scenes which are leaking out. Do you think there could be personality clashes? Because Robert Garcia, obviously, well-respected coach, so it kind of took a lot of people by surprise that he left him after one fight.
Yeah, but like fighters have egos, right? And coaches have egos. Like I'm the first person to admit, like when it comes to boxing, I'll have an ego because I believe that what I'm doing is the best thing for that person, and I believe I know the right things to do. And if someone questions it, it will probably wind me up. I wouldn't be ignorant to the fact that I wouldn't listen to them, but I would believe that my way of doing things and the way I've analysed it is the right way, and that's the most important thing. You as a coach need to be able to break things down, analyse it, and say what I'm going to implement now, what I'm going to work with this talent, or this fighter. I need to make sure that it's the right approach, and that's a in-house, in your own mind, like understanding. Now, if a fighter's constantly questioning you, you start either getting annoyed or having to try and convince the fighter that that we're doing the right things. So he's just a clever guy, but maybe he's putting too much emphasis on analysing things and trying to take control. And you need to go back to the days that when he was 15, 16 years of age or whatever he was when he started boxing, he packed his bag, got to the gym, got his gum shield in, didn't ask who he was sparring, didn't ask what training he was doing, why he was parrying a jab or why he was throwing a jab. It was just get on and do it, and and reap the rewards with practical learning. Like that's the most important thing. Spar at the start of camp. If you're having trouble with a person, hopefully at the end of the camp you figure them out.
Interesting. Last question I've got for you is kind of involves you as well. Obviously, Eddie said it a lot about Lawrence, saying he's got too many people in his ear, blowing smoke up his arse. And the exact same thing Dominic Ingle and your dad said about Anthony Joshua, saying he's got too many people blowing smoke up his arse. Where do people get them sort of opinions from? Because obviously, as fans who would just watch everything from the outside, what is blowing smoke up somebody's arse, and does it affect fighters in the fact that they're changing trainers, changing promoters, etc.?
Well, I think Dominic Ingle and my dad are probably two of the most. They've definitely got the respect within the industry to be able to make those comments and statements, and I think they've seen it. Dominic Ingle's seen it with Nassim Hamid. My dad's seen it on numerous occasions, whether it was when he was a fighter or whether since he's been around the game. Like we've had some big names in our gym, and he's trained alongside some great names. And he's also commentated on Sky Sports his whole for 10 years, and then he went with ITV and stuff. And you just see that transition of fighters when they're in the development stage, and then there's too many people that hang around them and tell them the stuff that they want to hear, and then they start believing their own hype and take their eye off the ball and start thinking about their career as a business rather than actually achievements. It's like the best time of boxing is the pure time. If you ask someone, like, if once Adam Azim gets the end of his career, he's going to reflect and he's going to say that first 2 or 3 years was the most pure. Once, if you ask Josh Taylor when he was with me, like, he always goes back to the pure days when it was like not a lot on the line and he was just developing, and that you've got to enjoy that process. But then when you get to the top, you've also got to realise that the people that got you there are going to give you the honest advice. They're going to give you the honest opinions. Don't listen to some other person that's slapping you on the back and and asking you to go out to certain places and let's go to these high-end restaurants and shit like that, because they're the wrong people around you. It's like but all fighters gravitate towards them, so it's really sad.
We'll leave it on that note. I'll leave it on a sad note, and hopefully the next time I speak to you, it'll be a positive note. A Chris Billiam Smith win.
It's not a sad note. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Reality is that's just the fact of the matter. Is boxing becomes a business, and once it becomes a business, you lose a little bit of the enjoyment. Whether you're a fighter or whether you're the coach, and then you're defending your position. If you're a coach and a manager, you're defending your position. If you're a fighter, you're also doing the same thing. So it's just the way it is.
Shane, appreciate your time. Good luck Saturday night.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.